Good morning. I'm Janet Gourand. I'm the founder of Tribe Sober, and I'm going to talk to you about our Breaking Free program. And I've got a few slides that I've prepared, so I am going to take you through those. I've called this Your Path to Freedom. I'm going to talk to you very briefly about myself. If you're really interested in my gruesome story, then you'll find it on episode 1 of our Tribe Sober podcast. But for the purpose of this presentation, I'm going to touch very briefly on my 3 rock bottoms. I'm going to tell you how I got sober and how I started a tribe. But mainly this presentation is about you, and it's about your path to freedom. I want you to get your wings with our Breaking Free program. My 3 wake-up calls. At the age of 25, I nearly drowned in my bath. I was in an alcoholic blackout, and for some reason I decided it would be a good idea to have a bath. Fortunately, I was discovered just in time. I was literally under the water, and my flatmate had to call the emergency services, explain what had happened. So we got the fire brigade in because I'd locked the door, and the fire brigade came, knocked the door down, and also the medics had to literally resuscitate me. Now, that was crazy. So I could have died at the age of 25. But rather than taking all this seriously, we just treated it as a story, a funny story. I spent the night at a hospital, and a shrink came to see me the following morning, advised me to get some counselling because it wasn't normal to drink yourself into a blackout. And I said, oh, I'm fine. I was just having a good time. I'll be all right. But of course, with hindsight, I should have got some help back then. But I didn't. I just carried on. So that was me at 25. At the age of 30, I got married to another heavy drinker. Functioning alcoholics we were. Now that I look back and think about that period, we both had great jobs and we both partied a lot. And we had no idea that there was anything wrong. We thought it was completely normal. That was how life worked. You worked hard and you played hard. At the age of 55, I got breast cancer. That was back in 2006. And back in those days, there wasn't a lot of talk in the public domain about the link between heavy drinking and breast cancer. Now there is, and any woman that drinks more than 3 small glasses of wine a week is putting herself at risk of breast cancer. I had a year of difficult treatments, mastectomy, chemotherapy, as you can see from my haircuts. And yeah, it was a tough time. But did I stop drinking? Oh no. But I did change from white wine to red wine because somebody had told me that red wine was good for me. So carried on. And it was only at the age of 63 that I finally got my final wake-up call. That only happened because I had a terrible walking, talking blackout, as I call it. I lost 6 hours of a day. My friends that I was away with, we were away for the weekend, they told me that during this period, we'd been on a long walk. I'd been walking normally, talking normally, and they thought I was fine. And that really chilled me to the bone somehow. I think I knew through the breast cancer that I was damaging my body. By then it had sunk in. But the thought that was damaging my brain, oh no, I didn't like that at all. Especially as we get older, we have to stay sharp. So that scared me. And the morning after that, I said to my husband, that's it. I can't do this anymore. I'm quitting the booze. And to be fair, he didn't laugh. He said, you've never said that before. You've always said that you're going to cut down or you're going to try and moderate. That was the change. And indeed, from that morning after this crazy weekend, I haven't touched a drink, and that was more than 8 years ago. How did I do it? I trotted along to AA. I didn't know what else to do. So here in South Africa, where I live, I went to several meetings trying to find my people, really. But I couldn't find the right group for me. It seemed to be mostly male orientated. The people there seemed to be even further down the road than I was. I was probably well on my way, but they were drinking in the morning. A lot of them had lost everything. And I would actually leave those meetings thinking, I'm not that bad, so maybe I can carry on drinking. So they were counterproductive, really. But I knew in my heart I had to change. So I carried on looking, and I finally found a one-day workshop in London run by Club Soda. And that did the trick. And they told us all the health reasons to stop drinking, all the risks, which really frightened me because I had no idea it was that bad. And they also gave us a few tips on habit change. But most importantly, I found my people. There were ladies there, just like me, good jobs, nice families, sinking a bottle of wine at least a night, more at the weekends. And we bonded because we shared our stories and just how unhappy alcohol had been making us for years. So we bonded, we swapped numbers, we had a WhatsApp group, and that's what did it. And I also educated myself. I read all the Quit Lit books, I listened to all the podcasts, I built my own personal toolkits. I discovered Annie Grace's book, The Naked Mind, and realized that this journey was more about mindset than willpower. So that's how I did it. And then what happened was I got rather depressed after about 4 or 5 months of sobriety. I started thinking, this is a bit dull. I miss my drinking buddies. I miss the partying. I've got so much time on my hands. I don't know what to do with myself. So I described it in a blog that I wrote at that time as a kind of void. And many people get to this stage. It's like a void. And that's when many people start drinking again. But I didn't, fortunately, because I felt like I'd painted myself into a corner. I felt a bit trapped because my husband kept telling me how proud he was of me. My son was proud of me. I had my drinking buddies had drifted off, of course, but I had some good friends that were supporting me. So I didn't feel that I could start drinking again. So I just gritted my teeth and sat with it. About a month after I'd just gritted my teeth, I started to feel better. I started to move on to a different stage, if you like. I felt creative. I remember I used to take long walks at 6 o'clock rather than opening the wine. And I started to get all these ideas, and I used to stop and write them in my phone because I was so worried I might forget them. And one of my ideas was to start Tribe Sober. I thought, let me start a community. Let me find more of my people, because my people at that time were in London. I wanted people here in South Africa, in Cape Town, and I wanted us to figure it out together as a community. How were we going to do this long term? And how were we going to not just be sober, but thrive in our sobriety? So that was my project. And these days in Tribe Sober, when people start feeling a bit down in the first few months, as many people do, it's all to do with the dopamine. If you've been relying on alcohol to make you feel good for years, for decades, then when you stop, your brain chemicals, those happy brain chemicals, need to learn how to function naturally again. So that's the science behind why you get this low. And my project was Tribe Sober. And we say to our people, if they are hit with the early sobriety blues, which is what we call this, find a project. And it works. So I've been building the tribe since 2015. I was an HR director in a corporate, so I've been designing and facilitating training courses for decades. So I know my stuff. So I designed and run workshops. The workshops were obviously physical pre-COVID, and they were always sold out. I ran them in Cape Town, I ran them in London. That's a London one with Claire Pooley, who's the author of the Sober Diaries. She co-facilitated with me. This is one in Joburg. So yeah, lots of workshops. And people came to our workshops and they loved them. But they started writing to me and saying, we need more than the workshops. We want to stay connected with you because we want more content, we want meetups, and we want to stay connected with each other. So that's why I started a membership, and the membership works really well. We've got about 400 members, and it's a beautiful community. It's an international community of people that support and encourage each other and strive for an alcohol-free life. And then I started the podcasts, I think about 5 years ago now. There's more than 200 episodes out there. It's a weekly podcast called Tribe Sober on Apple and Spotify. I've had some fabulous guests, lots of scientists, doctors, and many beautiful recovery stories as well. So it's full of knowledge and inspiration. So please have a listen to that. And I did lots of media as well. Here in South Africa, the media were very interested in me. Who is this mad foreign woman that is suggesting that we stop drinking? Because South Africa is a hard drinking country. I had a regular spot on this guy's radio show, Eusebius McKaiser, who became a great friend and who sadly passed away last year. I wrote articles and I just put myself out there and gave it everything. I have a small team as well, and we're all sober and we're all passionate about sobriety, and we want more people to get to this wonderful place called Soberland. So are you ready to come to Soberland? Come and visit us, even for a while. Most people that visit decide to stay. Some of you are watching this because you've just done our boot camp. Our boot camp is the first step on this staircase, and you've had a glimpse of how awesome alcohol-free life can be, because if you've been following our boot camp and doing the work, you will have completed 5 alcohol-free days. And the Breaking Free program is an opportunity for you to work with us to make alcohol-free life a permanent lifestyle. It's a journey of transformation. So here we have a little picture of the moderation swamp. We talk a lot about moderation in our boot camp because so many people are trapped in this moderation swamp because they think, like I used to think, I couldn't possibly enjoy my life without my wine or my alcohol. So I'll just try to control it. And of course, the thing is, if you cross the line into dependence, you can't control it. It's an addictive drug. But many of us get caught in this moderation swamp. And there is a stat saying that many of us spend an average of 11 years in that swamp. And of course, here's the hangover that we're all very familiar with. So our Breaking Free is a journey to take you to this beautiful place of freedom and joy. I want to talk in this presentation about the destination, because as I mentioned, I'm a trainer, I'm a bit of a nerd, and us trainers, we love creating our courses and we love talking about them. We love talking about the moving parts. We start going on about this checklist, that video, this audio, you have to do this first and do it in that order. But I don't want to go down that rabbit hole today because I want to focus on the destination. And I've got an analogy for you about that destination. This is me on my last holiday. When I booked that holiday, I'd obviously been looking at various destinations and I found this one that I wanted to go to. And I thought, that's where I'm going. And then I booked it, and sure, paying for it was rather painful, but I did it. And then I looked forward to it for a few weeks before I went. And then the day dawned and it was time to do the traveling. I'm not crazy about traveling anyway, but it was quite a trek. I was only going to Mozambique and I live in Cape Town. So if you look at the map, you'll think that's not very far at all. But it involved me getting to the airport from my house, lots of queues at the airport, and then I had to fly to Joburg, where I got another plane. I had to wait a long time at Joburg for my connection. Got another plane to Vilanculos, and then I had to get a boat, and then I think another taxi at the other end. It was exhausting and it was very long, but then I got to my destination. What I want to say to you is that breaking free is just a journey, and I don't want you to focus on the journey too much. I want you to keep the destination in your mind, because the destination is a beautiful place. We're calling it the sun-drenched beaches of sobriety for the purpose of this presentation. And what is it like, this destination? I've been sober 8 years, and I can talk about the benefits of sobriety for a long time. I think I've made 2 podcasts just on that subject. But in a nutshell, this is what's happened to me and many people in our community. These are just some of the advantages: better physical and mental health. Alcohol is linked to 7 types of cancer and more than 60 diseases. So you're taking a big health risk if you drink heavily, as I discovered with my breast cancer. And mental health as well. This is ironic because so many of us drank because we were socially anxious or we were just worried about something, but it's actually one of the worst things that you can do. And there's a meme that I love which says, drinking alcohol is like pouring gasoline on your anxiety. And there have been scientific tests proving that. You have better relationships. Your friends and family will become much closer to you. You'll have better conversations, and some of your drinking buddies will drift away, but that's fine because your real friends will stick with you. And sleep. The sleep is a big one, really, because we never get proper sleep. We need 7 cycles of REM sleep, and if we're a drinker, we get 2. When I hit 60, I was exhausted, and I thought, oh, this is what it's like to be 60. But I didn't realize it was my wine, not my age, making me feel that way. So if you've been drinking regularly for years, for decades, that fatigue will build up and build up. And that is one of the many joys of sobriety. You get so much energy, you just get your life back. You look better, your skin will clear, you'll lose weight. Sobriety is a springboard to personal growth. Suddenly you've got energy, motivation, and you start, it's like you lift up your head and you look around at the world and you think, oh my God, there is so much I want to do and achieve. I'm not going to let alcohol steal that from me any longer. So huge benefits here in Soberland. Another analogy I like, I promise, last analogy now, I love analogies. But sobriety is just the ticket to the show. It's just the beginning. And so many people, me included, think, oh, if I don't drink, I suppose I'll look a bit better, feel a bit better, but so what? But it's just the ticket, it's just the beginning. And then your life will open up in ways that you cannot even imagine. So see sobriety as the ticket, and then you're going to see the band play. So I will talk very briefly about the journey, but I'm not going to go into great detail, I promise. First thing I'd say about it is it's a bit of a hybrid. Now, I got this idea from a journalist that I interviewed called Sam Delaney, a British journalist. And I asked him, as I ask a lot of my guests in recovery, how did you do it? How did you get sober? And he said, I went to a couple of AA meetings, but I didn't really want to continue with that. So then I found a sober community, and then I read some books, and then I listened to some podcasts, and then I started building my toolkit. And then he said, it's a hybrid, really. And I thought, oh, that's a great way to think about a recovery plan. So by that time, I'd been running Tribe Sober for 6 years. And I thought, we've got so much great content and resources. Why don't I collate the best content, learnings, and resources that we've got and create a really great program? And then I can add some personal touch points in there. So thinking about it, it's exactly the kind of program that I needed 9 years ago when I was stuck in my drinking and desperate to get out. Because as you'll remember, it took me months to find this 1-day workshop. So at least I had a few people I could connect with. But then I had to spend hours on the internet finding information and finding books to read. And what we've done is we've collated all that. So we've saved you days and days of scrolling. We've curated it, if you like. And it comes in four components, 4 pieces of the puzzle that come together and create magic. Let me take you through these 4 pieces. So first of all, you get this community support, which I think is absolutely vital. We only take 20 people on the program at a time. We run it 4 times a year and we take 20 people. And that's because we want to be able to give you personal support. So you'll be in a group, a WhatsApp group with the other people doing Breaking Free. And you'll all start on the same day with the masterclass live workshop, and you'll be working through it together. It's a 3-month program, and you'll be traveling through it together, and you'll be talking to each other, and you'll be connecting. And we host a Zoom workshop for the Breaking Free people every month, so you'll be talking to each other there. So that connection is the opposite of addiction, and it's absolutely essential in my view. So we'll be kicking off the whole program with a masterclass live workshop. That's a 4-hour Zoom workshop. And that the participants get to share their personal stories, so you'll get to know each other. And then we give you access to our online course, which is a deep dive really into, I think we've got at least 12 or 13 videos made by us, members of the Tribe Sober team. We direct you to the appropriate podcasts and reading material. And I think we worked out it's maybe at least 20 hours if you sat down and did it in one chunk, which of course you won't. We advise you spend half an hour a day watching videos, and then you can listen to the podcast as you're out and about. You can always have a book on the go. We help you to manage it and build it into your busy life. And then probably one of the keys to the success of this program is that we have personal touch points. You start off with a 1-hour Zoom session with me. Halfway through the program, you have a catch-up session with our community manager, Sue. And then at the end of your Breaking Free program, you have a one-to-one coaching session with a fantastic recovery coach called Lynette LaRue, who will make sure that you're applying all this theory that you've learned to your daily life. Because a lot of people are like that. They know everything, but they just can't seem to do it. So she'll help you to join up the dots and apply it. And then if you want to continue working with Lynette, make her your sobriety coach, of course, you can contract directly with her, and many people do because she is amazing. So I always say to people that recovery isn't linear. It goes up and it goes down, and you might get the early sobriety blues, and you feel all over the place. You feel fragile and exposed and a bit raw, and it's not an easy time, that first 3 months. And that's the time when you're most likely to fall off the wagon. And hopping on and off the wagon is the most difficult way, because all you're doing is the hardest bit over and over again. Those first few days, few weeks are dreadful, and you don't want to keep doing them, because quite apart from how difficult they are, your subconscious mind will be registering, oh, this sobriety, she's doing that sobriety thing again. This is awful. And you want to educate your subconscious mind that, in fact, alcohol-free living is beautiful, and it will only get that if you stay on the track for at least your first 3 months. And that's why we've designed Breaking Free to last 3 months, to get you through the most difficult bit. We suggest to people that they avoid these 2 mistakes of thinking that boot camp will be enough, because some people come to our 1-week boot camp on the Facebook group, which is all free, of course, and they say, oh, this is fantastic. I'm so motivated. I'm sorted now. But we urge them not to go in that direction, because the motivation will fade. It even has a name, the pink cloud, and your connections with the other people on that group will weaken. And FAB will strike. I don't know if you know about FAB, but it's fading affect bias, and it's a real thing. And our brain will trick us after we've been sober for a while, and it'll start saying, you've had a nice break, you've obviously not got a real problem here, so you can start having the odd glass of wine again. And that's when, of course, it all goes pear-shaped. And lastly, it is so hard to do this alone. And that's why many people stay trapped in the moderation swamp because they can't get out on their own. They need a helping hand. And the other mistake is that people think that they're too busy to break free. But that's why we've designed a flexible program, because I know what it's like to be busy. And in fact, I've just been invited to a course which is run by one of our Tribe Sober members on artificial intelligence. And I'm really fascinated by all this. Me and ChatGPT are on close terms. But I looked at the program and it's just a set schedule that goes on for a couple of months. And I thought, I can't commit to that space regularly. So I'm not going to be able to do it. And I know a lot of people have lives like that. So that's why we've designed this to be flexible. The one-to-ones are totally at your convenience. We ask you to tell us your availability. The online course, of course, is at your own pace. And although we encourage you to get through this in 3 months, you'll have lifetime access to that material. You can use it as a kind of reference bank. The community support lasts for 3 months and you'll get to know your fellow students really well. The live masterclass is the only thing that you need to schedule, just that 4-hour session, because you'll meet your fellow students. And even then, if you're in a completely different time zone and you just can't make it, we have got a recording that we can send to you. And remember, so many people don't think about this advantage of being alcohol free, but you will save so much time. My life used to consist of planning a drinking session, doing it, and then recovering from it. It is such a massive waste of time. If you're too busy now, do the program and you're going to be less busy and much happier and healthier at the end of it. Yeah, I've got a few testimonials here from very busy people. We've got Sally, who's a senior executive in London, and she loved the personal aspects of the course. And she loved our coach, as most people do. She said she's one of the wisest, calmest, and most uplifting people you'll ever meet. And then we've got a lawyer. I think Nolene is a corporate lawyer. And she's actually found the process easy, even though she'd be the first to admit that she was a very heavy drinker and she'd been drinking for decades. But she found it easy to get through because the program's been well designed and it's reframed the way that she thinks about drinking, which is absolutely key. So she's gained the tools she needs, the support, and she's redefined her connection with alcohol and she's saying goodbye to it. And last but not least, we've got a doctor who is also an educator. So he's given me a nice shout out here for the design of the program. And he actually moved, David got through it in 3 weeks, which is amazing. And that's because he's so clever and he just gave it his all. Yeah, he said that he can see that I am professional in this field. So that's lovely to get that kind of feedback. But I'm showing you that not to blow my own trumpet, but to say that we've got busy professionals that have done this program and they've benefited enormously. I spoke to Sally just the other day. She dropped a pile of weight. She's feeling full of energy and fantastic. And I see David regularly. And Nolene is now a member of our tribe. So we stay in touch with our people. They become part of the Tribe Sober family. Just a reminder that alcohol is a trap and a thief. This little picture here, it's a Venus flytrap. Pitcher plant, I think, is another name for them. And this plant is sneaky. It's lined with this delicious nectar. And the fly, the poor hapless fly, starts drinking the nectar here at the top. But he goes further and further down to get more of it. And eventually he drops into the bottom and he drowns in the pool of nectar there. And that's a little bit like the journey to alcoholism. So remember, it steals your sleep, your looks. If you do take a selfie at the beginning of your Breaking Free program and another one at the end, you'll be amazed at the difference. Health, I already mentioned, 60 diseases, 7 types of cancer. It steals your time. It steals your money. Even a moderate drinker, I was talking to a lady in the US and she said, I just get through 3 bottles of wine a week, which is a lot better than me. I got through at least 10, I think. But even so, we looked at the price of a bottle of wine in the US and she's spending $2,500 a year on alcohol. So there's so many better things to spend your money on. And it steals your peace of mind because you've always got this internal struggle going on. I knew for years that I had to give up drinking, and my conscious mind was always saying, oh, you overdid it last night, you're an idiot, you've got to stop this. And then my subconscious mind would be fighting back, saying, but life without alcohol will be rubbish. You're going to lose your friends, you'll never have fun. So you get this awful argument going on in your head, and it's just anxiety on steroids. And energy and motivation it steals. Because I don't know about you, but I used to get home from my corporate job, do a bit of domestic stuff, and then have a glass of wine, and that was it. I was finished. There was nothing else that I could do. So I would lose all the hours in the evening. And you get trapped in Groundhog Day. Your life doesn't evolve if you're a heavy drinker, because you wake up in the morning feeling a bit crap and you think, oh, I'm not good. I overdid it last night. I'm not going to drink today. You get to 5 o'clock and you're feeling quite chirpy again and you think, oh, maybe a cheeky glass of wine won't do any harm. And there you go again. Because us drinkers, we don't have an off switch. There's no such thing as one glass of wine. And alcohol can keep us trapped for a lifetime. This was a survey, I think I mentioned the 11 years, didn't I? But the Tempest is a sobriety group, and they asked hundreds of people in recovery, how long was it between that moment when you knew you had a problem with alcohol, because we all know, don't we, and the moment when you reached out for help and started to make a change? And the average time is 11 years. And I moderate. I spent most of my 50s trying and failing to moderate, and that is my 11 years. And we asked people in our boot camp how long they've been moderating for, and this was the response: 10 years, 20 years, 9 years, 20 years. Isn't it time to break free, to stop going round in circles and ruining your health and happiness? So our Breaking Free program, this is the current program. So we open it 4 times a year. So if you're watching this way after the event, then rest assured there will be another one coming up. But if you're watching this in time to register for this, please just do it. Get on with it. We only open our cart for 5 days because it's not that we want to do a hard sell, but we don't want you to procrastinate any longer. We just want you to do it because we know you're heading for a better place if you do it. There's only 20 places. As I make this presentation now, we opened registration yesterday and 7 places have gone. So there's 13 places left. We're opening the cart for another 4 days now, I think it is. So the registration will close on the 21st of February, and the live masterclass for this cohort of trainees will be on the 24th of February. And there are bonuses. I won't bore you with all of this because most of them have gone anyway. But those people that sign up will get a recorded version of the masterclass and a folder of all the content that we gave away for free during our boot camp. And Tribe members get a 20% discount on Breaking Free. If you're clever, you can join up for just a month. I think after you've been a member for a month, you'll want to carry on being a member. But anyway, just pay for a month of membership and you can get a 20% discount on Breaking Free. So you've got 2 choices now, haven't you, really? You can do nothing. You can stay in that struggle place, maybe another 11 years. And you can be sure that your life is going to stay the same if you're not struck down by a health problem. But your drinking is going to get worse because that's what it does. It's progressive. Towards the end of my drinking, I could drink 2 bottles of wine and feel nothing at all. It takes you to a very dark place. Or your other choice is to enter our safe space of transformation, We call it a space for transformation because we've seen hundreds and hundreds of people change their lives because they've given up drinking. And we've realized that we're more than a membership or a training course or a challenge. We're a space of transformation. And we want you to break free from the booze once and for all and become the person you were meant to be. Because we shouldn't be comparing ourselves with the worst people in AA like I used to, or the homeless man in the park and think, oh, I'm not that bad. You should compare yourself with the best version of yourself that you could be. And even if alcohol doesn't destroy you, it will prevent you from reaching your potential. And it will be hard those first few months, but you've got to choose your hard. You've got to be curious, listen and learn, and breaking free is going to get you through those difficult months. It's so much harder to stay where you are, to keep drinking, becoming more dependent, more anxious, putting your health at risk. Please start your journey today. If not now, when? Wouldn't it be worth it to be alcohol-free without feeling deprived? We're going to take you to a place where you love your alcohol-free lifestyle. Wouldn't it be worth it to break free from that guilt, the blame, and the shame cycle, to end the struggle and find peace, and to be healthier and happier? Remember, difficult roads lead to beautiful destinations, and that difficult road is only going to last for 3 months max. Carry on drinking and that difficult road will last the rest of your life and it'll get more difficult. So please join Breaking Free. Make 2024 the year you invest in yourself. Sign up today. The current offer, we run it 4 times a year, but the current offer will close on the 21st of February. So stop wasting money on alcohol and invest in yourself. Go to tribesober.com. On the homepage, you'll find something about breaking free. And price-wise, that we have people from all over the world doing this. So wherever you are in the world, go on to our Breaking Free page and you will see the price in your currency. And if you have any questions at all, then just write to me, Janet at tribesober.com. Thank you for watching.